Hello, welcome to the Barbarian Philosopher Podcast. This is episode 14. As usual, I'm your host, Jerome Acevedo. I'm back again with my co-host, Leron Kayvon. What's up, everybody?
Sup, Jerome? Sup, everyone?
What's new with you, brother? You were gone in, St. Louis?
Yeah, no, I was in New Orleans.
Just like the third time I've said St. Louis.
I don't know, because I guess to Louisiana.
Fair enough. How was that?
It was dope, man. If anyone's planning on doing a little bachelor party trip or just want some debauchery and madness, then New Orleans is your place for sure.
They have a reputation for that, for sure.
Very well-earned reputation.
Yeah?
I was not disappointed at all.
Wildest thing you saw down there that you could speak on?
This thing. Oh my god, you're really limiting me. I don't know. I saw a lot of
drunken hobo fights. And
no, they actually wasn't violent at all. It was a very calm, good vibe type of place. And let's just say girls are very eager for beads.
Okay.
Yeah, take some beads with you. You get 100 for $5 in those pack. Get the nice ones though, you know. You want to treat a girl well.
Yeah, no question.
Get them the nice beads.
No question. And
be a gentleman about your beads.
Absolutely.
It will take you far. And girls have a great time out there too.
Yeah.
It's a wild city.
You know, it's sometimes you just need an excuse to show your titties without.
You gotta show them titties.
You know what I'm saying? Without getting shamed about it.
Exactly. It was a judgment-free zone.
Yes.
That's what I loved about it.
Awesome. Awesome. So we have a bunch of stuff going on right now in the MMA world. Let's get right into it. As of yesterday, July 6th.
Yes.
Jon Jones is off of his suspension.
Nice.
He is officially
back in the game. What was he suspended for last time officially?
Was it not
the? Into a lot of shit.
Well, yes, that's true. It was not sandblasting hookers this time.
No.
But if I'm not mistaken, it was the tainted dick pills. Was it?
Was it tainted dick pills? Okay.
Because he came back from the running over or hitting the car crash with the pregnant chick.
Yeah.
He came back from that, and he was supposed to fight.
There was the cocaine.
That
was fine. He was cool. That wasn't this one.
And then he got busted, and it ended up being tainted dick pills.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So if I'm not mistaken, that was the most recent of his.
And he's back. He's back with a bang, or maybe not so much with a bang.
Yeah, we'll wait to see. I feel like almost you would have a better chance betting whether or not this fight actually takes place.
Yeah, I wonder
than betting on the actual fight.
Yeah, I wonder what the over/under on whether this fight materializes or not.
You know how they have the unstoppable force versus the immovable object?
Yeah.
This is the inevitable pullout versus the perpetual fuck up. That's what this is. I'm very curious to see how this fight is going to go. Considering Jon Jones's last outing with Ovin St. Preux.
Yeah.
Considering he's been out for such.
You're talking about DC, yeah?
Yeah, his fight with DC.
Yeah, okay,
I'm looking forward to Jon Jones' fight with DC. But Jones's last fight with Ovin St. Preux was kind of lackluster.
Yeah.
So how he's going to perform against a DC who's been fairly consistent competing while Jon Jones has been out is going to be very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, you never really know after a long layoff. I'm trying to think of people who had a long layoff and came back strong without the ring rust.
Yeah.
He might need a tune-up fight or two. I mean, you never know. I don't know what he's been taking, but there's a lot of substances seem to be flowing in and out of his body. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to fit. And just the time off in general and just where his head is at.
Well, he has been competing and doing a lot of jiu-jitsu stuff.
Okay, that's cool.
So he's not entirely cold.
Okay.
And
you can have dick pills in jiu-jitsu?
Who knows?
Cool
whether or not, I would hope that they don't.
America?
Yeah. I would hope they don't encourage that, pre-workout. I think that'd make for a very awkward role.
Yeah. Although it might be a good distraction,
Right? Yeah, you take his back, you sink the third hook, he's not getting away.
You might tap out real quick just to...
check the oil, as they say. So that's definitely coming up. How do you feel about that? Do you have a preference one way or the other as to who you think might win that?
Preference? Both of them, I'm kind of ambivalent, but not in a way like I don't care, but like They both personally and professionally, have their ups and downs. DC is probably the best wrestler in the higher divisions.
Okay.
In middleweight and up, he's probably the best wrestler, pure wrestler. His fights can be pretty boring sometimes, but not always. I think he did a great job of disposing of Rumble in the last fight.
Yeah,
he whooped him real good. So I mean, he can be fun, he can be boring. Personally, he can whinge a lot. He can be kind of complainy pants and like kind of negative, but he's also kind of seems like a cool guy sometimes when he's not necessarily in the limelight directly. So I don't know how I feel about him. And then Jones is like, I mean, in terms of I think he's gotten less and less exciting as a fighter as time has gone on, which happens to a lot of guys. Once you're champion, your mentality changes. I wish he would go back to the early days of John Jones as a fighter. Both personally, also he's got these two sides to him where he can be a real kind of prick, and then he can also be like a decent stand-up guy. But I don't really know what to make of him and where he's gonna, how he's gonna come into that fight. So I can't make any judgments about who I would like to win.
Okay.
And I also can't make any judgments about who's going to win because I really don't know where John. You kind of know where DC's at. You kind of know what to expect from DC. He never really surprises you. But John Jones is like, I don't think if you had to push me on it, I would say that John Jones is not going to come back as well as he did before. But he's still undefeated, so I can't say that he loses that fight.
What's going to be interesting, so one of the things that Jones mentioned on his interview with Joe Rogan was that, he used to go out and like have these crazy parties about a week before every fight, so that mentally he would have the scapegoat of, well, if I lost, that wasn't really me who lost, that was me fucked up after a week of partying who lost.
I didn't try, so yeah.
Exactly. But
he still won all his fights.
He did not do that against Ovince St. Preux, and that was his least impressive performance.
Yeah, he was real boring.
And I wonder, some people go so long with whatever their mental crutch is that when you take that away from them, they don't know how to cope with the pressure or with, the various aspects mentally because they haven't exercised that. It's like a guy who goes to the bar and gets drunk before he talks to a chick.
Yeah.
And then one day you just go to a normal place that doesn't have alcohol and say, hey, go talk to that chick. And he's super nervous because he doesn't have that lubricant in place.
Yeah, you could see that with Jones potentially.
I'm curious to see if there's going to be any of that because I'm hoping he fucking like gets it together before this fight and doesn't do anything that'll jeopardize it. I think it's going to be very interesting. That's the most I can say. If someone put a gun to my head and said either you pick correctly or we shoot you, I would very tentatively go with Jones.
Yeah, I'd say so too. But I wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah,
he doesn't.
yeah, for sure. A bunch of crazy stuff with Cyborg lately. Have you followed any of that?
I haven't. Clue me in.
Okay, so Cyborg.
Getting sued?
No. She's not getting sued. Cyborg was supposed to fight Jermaine Durandamy, who
Sounds
beat
like
Holly Holm.
That's a lady?
Yeah,
Jermaine?
Jermaine Durandamy.
Okay.
She's from, I think, Holland.
Okay.
So she's some of Uber's people, Uberings folks.
Uberim. Yeah.
Yes.
That's Uberim.
But she was supposed to fight Jermaine Durandamy, who beat Holly Holm for the featherweight women's featherweight championship. There's a
Recently?
plane. Yeah. Did you see that one? She hit Holly twice after the bell. Did you watch that?
I saw Holly knock the shit out of someone. Bitch Correa.
Yeah, that was
Correa.
that was after.
That was after
the Jermaine Durandamy fight.
Okay, I didn't see Holly Holm lose that first fight. I don't think. Maybe I did. Anyway, what happened in that fight?
Long story short, went back and forth. Holly threw a lot.
Yeah.
Not a whole bunch of really solid shots. She wobbled Jermaine Durandamy a little bit once or twice, but Jermaine Durandamy landed a lot of square shots, and then on two separate occasions, Jermaine Durandamy hit Holly after the bell. and in one of those occasions, it visibly affected her.
Up,
like you could see, like her leg kind of did a little wobble. You know, it definitely affected her. Anywho, Jermaine Durandamy, she gets the women's featherweight belt for the UFC. She was supposed to fight Cyborg, and then she says, "I refuse to fight Cyborg because she has a history as a cheater," which is hypocritical in my opinion, considering you cheated by knocking your last opponent twice after the bell. But she says, "I'm not going to do it." The UFC takes her belt away. Says, "Fine, fuck it."
Durandamy's belt.
Takes Durandamy's belt away, and Durandamy says, "That's cool. I'm just going to go back down to 135. So what do? They get Megan Anderson, this I think she's Australian chick, like 6 foot, you know, a natural, solid, like 145, Invicta champ, solid striking. She's supposed to fight Cyborg. And people are like, yes, this is a good matchup. We're excited for this. Yeah. You know, she has a decent chance of giving Cyborg some problems. But then there's an issue with her visa. She can no longer be here in the U.S. And so that gets canceled out. And now Cyborg is set to fight Tanya Evinger in UFC 214. From what I hear, I haven't really seen any of Tanya's fights yet. But from what I hear, she's very scrappy. She's very tough, which will be good. But I don't hear a lot of rumblings of her really having what it takes to take out Cyborg.
Yeah.
So that's going on for 214.
Interesting.
Very interesting. They're going to have a hard time with that division, I think.
Yeah, dude, she's such a different animal, like... But I mean, it's kind of like the whole she's like the Tyson of that division, like...
Absolutely, I 100% agree.
There's a huge fear factor, I think, steroids or otherwise. There's a huge fear factor. People are dodging her. People are talking shit to her, but they're also kind of nervous to fight because she can just fucking hurt you, you know?
Yeah.
And, but with people like her, with people like Tyson at least, they're like on top of the world, or, you know, he said it in his own words, top of the world or bottom of the earth. You never know when someone's gonna find that chink in the armor. Mm-hmm. And then once they find the chink in the armor, you say, oh, so it was so obvious. Now we found the kryptonite to that style. And they both have a similar style of just blitzing the opposition and just overpowering and being more powerful, being faster, just kind of not necessarily outboxing or outclassing or outskilling their opponent. Not to say that Tyson didn't have skill; he had incredible defensive skill, but she just overwhelms the opponent.
Pure athleticism and physical capability.
Yeah, and like really a cut above everyone else that we've seen. She's kind of just, you know, she could if she was fighting more often and there wasn't all this weird politics behind the women's UFC thing, and her in particular, she could just walk through person after person. I think, you know what I'm saying?
I'm inclined to agree with you. I don't think they have that many female fighters for
What's her weight class?
145.
145.
For 145. And they definitely aren't going to have many who can really bang with her. So I don't know what they're going to do with that division. I think
and Cyborg's in UFC?
Cyborg is now in the UFC.
Shit,
she's had one fight, I believe, under UFC contract, and she ran through that broad.
Why not Holly Holm?
Holly Holm is working her way up, I guess. Wow. She had her loss to Jermaine Durandamy.
Holly Holm is a big, strong girl, great striker too. That might be good.
She is, but I feel like she has too tentative of a style for a lot of people. Like, I feel like she falls short of what she's capable of doing. Yeah. Because she plays so smart and so trepidatiously.
Yeah, and I think that comes from being a kickboxer and coming into the MMA world, and just there's this whole other thing you now have to be concerned about, and she's still kind of like, you know, she's dipping her toes in the water. She doesn't know if there's alligators in there. So
right,
that comes with experience and comes with time, but ultimately they're both strikers, right? Like Cyborg's not a grappler.
No, I think she has decent grappling.
I'm sure she has. But she's from Brazil. I'm sure she's got great grappling. You know, I don't think you're allowed to fight MMA without having a black belt in Brazil. But
right.
I don't think that's what she's going to try and do. Holly Holm has a big, I think, weakness in grappling, which we saw against like Miesha Tate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where she can get caught with stuff because, you know, understandably she's coming from the kickboxing world, but I think it'll be a cool fight just in terms of they're both long, they're both strong, and they both like to bang. One's aggressive and one's a counter.
Yeah, one's a technician and one's a brawler, for lack of a better term.
So that's always fun to watch.
And that, I think that style gives Holly problems. That sit in your face and let's just fucking go.
Yeah.
I don't think she deals especially well with being uncomfortable. You know, she has her place where she likes to be and try to pick apart.
Yeah.
And if you get past that and just get in her face, it bothers her mentally.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, just in terms of size and striking ability, I don't think there's anyone else for her.
Yeah, that's
Cyborg when I think about it. But I mean, there's so many. The women's division is like really not in the limelight. You really don't know, you know, who's out there. So it's still too early to tell. I think we'll see what happens in a couple months.
Good point. Good point. We have a couple fights coming up tomorrow. So we have Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko. We have Yoel Romero versus Robert Whittaker.
Oh,
yes, yes. We have Fabricio Verdum versus Alistair Overeem, and we have Anthony Pettis versus Jim Miller. There's some other fights.
That's all on one card.
Yeah, it's all in one card. There's
Is this
also
the LA card?
Is it? I'm not sure where they're fighting out of, but there's also what's his name? Ronda Rousey's dude. Not Matt Brown, the other Brown. Travis Brown.
Travis Brown
is fighting some Eastern European dude who I haven't heard of, so I can't really weigh in on that because Travis hasn't looked good recently and I haven't heard of this other guy, so I don't really know where to go with that. But just off the top, who do you favor in those lineups? So first off, Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko.
This, I'm going to say, is easy for me because I don't know who Shevchenko is.
Yes. We're in the same boat.
Okay, good. I'm just looking at it. That's the main card?
That's the main card.
That's interesting. I have no idea who Shevchenko is.
I've seen some highlights of hers. She's got some power. She looks pretty good. But I haven't watched any like full fights of hers. I haven't gone through and watched fight after fight after fight of hers. And Amanda Nunes is just so fucking scary.
Yeah.
She has that ridiculous reach given her height.
Yeah.
And she fucking has some fucking power.
Yeah, dude, she's
aggressive.
I'm going to put it down on Nunes right there. Then.
Okay, we agree on that one. Yoel Romero versus Robert Whittaker. And
What a fight.
That's going to be a great fight. After we go through this, I want to give you my opinions on that fight in particular. But who do you have for that fight?
Robert Whittaker looked really good in his last fight. So did Romero though. I'm gonna say Whittaker. I don't know why. I can't. Just a gut reaction. I just feel like Whittaker has the momentum. I really liked him in the last fight.
Okay. I would say tentative for Yoel.
Okay.
Tentative for Yoel.
Okay.
Fabricio Verdum versus Alistair Overeem.
Verdum is a coach of a coach. So I like Verdum. I met him. He's a cool guy. I like him a lot. But I've just been Overeem. I've been a fan of Overeem since day one. So I gotta say Overeem.
I'm gonna go with Verdum.
Okay.
I'm gonna base that off of Overeem being kind of hit and miss on his performances.
Yes.
And this weird ass shit he's been doing lately, the fucking
running
tag.
Away.
Yeah, the
turning his
tag.
back and running away. Yeah.
I feel like he's gonna get caught doing that shit this fight.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Anthony Pettis versus Jim Miller.
Pettis and Miller.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I got Miller on this one.
Interesting. I'm gonna pick Pettis.
I think. Well, why do you pick Pettis?
Just I like Pettis' style more. It's just personal preference. I want it to win.
That's a good enough reason.
Miller's very scrappy. Pettis does some really cool shit, and I just like it.
I think Pettis is definitely more technical than Miller is, but I feel like like many technicians,
Yeah.
Pettis has a tendency or is somewhat prone to wilting a little bit
Yeah.
when you pressure him.
Yeah.
And Miller is a in-your-face fucking grinder, you know, just meat grinder of a dude.
I love those fights. I can never say one star or those fights is like, I can't say one's fire and one's water or whatever, because I've seen so many fights where there's the aggressor who kind of just wants to impose his will, to use a cliche, MMA cliche, on the other fighter. But then I've also seen that go the other way. Like, think about Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holm. Ronda Rousey really wanted to, for the first round at least, just knock, you know, she was the aggressor. She wanted to knock the fuck out of Holly Holm. Holly Holm kept her distance and moved her angles perfectly, and she outclassed her. But then there's so many times where someone is technically brilliant and is kind of like a wizard, but they just can't deal with the aggression. You know, they can't deal with with being put on the back foot.
It varies on the matchup for sure. Yeah. I think Pettis hasn't looked horrible, but he hasn't looked spectacular his last couple fights. He definitely hasn't looked
consistent.
No, he hasn't.
Definitely hasn't looked consistent, so you really don't know what to expect from Pettis.
Yeah.
But that's kind of, you know, they call him Showtime. I think that adds to his intrigue.
Okay, fair enough.
For me.
I gotta say, as a sidebar, probably my favorite UFC fight ever, Jim Miller versus Joe Lozon.
I gotta go back and watch that one.
Oh my god!
Can you post that on the thing?
Yeah, I'll put that in the description below the video.
Watch that.
Such a good, if I can find it. It's probably, I don't think it's on YouTube, but I'll see if I can find it somewhere else and
on Pirates.
Post it in the
Pirate videos.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how we do it. What about the Travis Brown? He's 1-4.
Travis Brown has just looked lame. Well, I take that back. He showed a lot of heart when he fought Fabricio Verdum, and he had his fucking finger come out through his glove and all of that. But he hasn't won anything in like his last 3 fights.
He's 1-4. Yeah.
So he hasn't been performing well. And this other dude, Olszewski or whatever the fuck his name is, that guy, I've never seen this guy fight before, so I can't really make a judgment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That one I just got to call it as I see it.
Yeah, I feel you.
As far as the Yo Romero versus Robert Whittaker fight, I'm very interested to see how this plays out. I feel like this will be, if Yoel wins, this is a great warm-up for him fighting Bisping.
Yeah. Although, honestly, which fighter is harder? What's a harder fight? Because Bisping thinks that Whittaker is an easy fight. He also thinks Romero is an easy fight.
Yeah, Bisping says that.
Bisping says that, yeah.
I don't know if I believe.
I think he believes it. I don't think it's true, but I think he believes it.
Okay.
He's a very confident dude.
He is. I'll give you that. I feel like Whittaker is very boxing heavy.
Yeah, he's very.
Doesn't like to sit in the pocket too much. Likes to kind of, uses lateral movement. Likes to move around. Throws pretty good volume and has good takedown defense. So that's similar to Bisping. So in that sense, it'll be a good warm-up for Yoel if he wins, as opposed to if Whittaker wins. Yoel is a very different style of fighter than, let's say, a Bisping. I really, really, really don't see Yoel winning this in the striking exchange. Whittaker, unless he just has some explosive shit that he just lands unexpectedly.
Who did he knock out last fight?
Weidman with that flying knee, which is a kind of a go-to move for him. He's landed that a few other fights where he'll threaten the takedown, go for the takedown, threaten the takedown, and then after he has them trained, boom, bust out with that flying knee.
But wasn't it? I remember it differently, but I might have been wrong. Okay, I remember it as Weidman went for the takedown and he landed the knee. It was one of those flying knees where Weidman was coming in, but I might have been wrong.
I think, you know what, to be honest, I don't remember clearly.
Because that's different, because then if someone's coming in on you for the takedown and you hit him with a flying knee, then it's that you've set them, that means you've you've beat them up on the stand-up so much that they're now looking for kind of sloppy takedowns. It's what Conor McGregor calls a panic wrestler.
Right.
You know, where you try standing up and you're like, okay, I'm not having fun here. Let me go for a takedown. But because that wasn't your plan A, because it was your plan B, it's just kind of sloppy and then boom, you know?
Right. I'm inclined to say, and my memory is a little faultier, so I have to go back and watch, but I'm inclined to say Yoel had faked the takedown a couple times and then caught what's-his-nose, Weidman trying to defend it, but it's been a minute since I've watched that fight, so I'd have to go back and double
Jury's
check.
out. Maybe
Jury's out. But generally speaking, Yoel Romero will use the threat of the takedown to set that up.
Is he a good judo guy? Those Cubans are pretty judo heavy.
He's an Olympic wrestler.
Olympic wrestler, okay.
So he may have some exposure to judo. As you mentioned, judo is very popular in Cuba. But his base is definitely wrestling.
Yeah.
So I think for him, his best bet is to kind of make it clinch heavy, try to wear Whitaker down a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe start threatening that takedown.
Yeah.
And then catch him, whether it's with the flying knee or something else explosive and powerful. Catch him trying to defend a faked takedown.
Yeah. Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Why is that not the main card? Main fight. I mean, they always co-main event it, but it's not the main event.
I'm gonna guess because it's not for a belt.
Okay.
Excuse me. It's for an interim belt. Your favorite.
Oh yeah.
But because,
I got one of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. I had bought a thing of Apple Jacks the other day. And
that's
one right in there.
Okay.
Yeah. I think because Nunez has the real belt.
Okay.
They're putting
the 135 one.
Yes, they're putting that up as the main card.
Okay, that's a good answer. That's fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, man. What else do we have?
We had a lot on the menu, didn't we?
Conor McGregor. So Conor McGregor, as we all know, is set up for August to fight Floyd, and he has announced that when he returns from fighting, fighting Floyd,
that in and of itself is interesting.
It is. I mean, imagine the bargaining power he's going to have though when he comes back from that. Like
win or lose.
The fact
unless he gets knocked out in the first round or something.
I think even then, the man's going to make damn near $100 million in this fight.
Oh right, Floyd. Yeah, you're talking just purely financially. Yeah,
purely financially, and his name.
Yeah,
even for people who don't really follow the UFC, who are more boxing oriented. Yeah. His name is going to be much more in the ether, if you will.
Especially outside of the States. I think in the States, boxing and MMA are level pegging, but outside of the States, boxing is really still, the sun to the moon type of thing. It's like boxing is the combat sport.
Yeah.
Even in England, and we have a few MMA fighters in England, but like England is a boxing country. We love our boxing out there.
For sure.
So that in terms of the global exposure, but that's also great for UFC. They have to think of Conor McGregor is bringing the whole world into MMA, and I think he's really facilitating the changing of the guard from boxing to MMA. Because I genuinely believe in 10 years' time, MMA is going to be where boxing is. It's going to be a complete flip-flop.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll be 10 years specifically, but in the not too
distant
future. Yeah, I can definitely see them being neck and neck.
Yeah.
So the bargaining power.
Maybe after the sex robot.
Around about the same time. Who knows? It might be sex boxing, UFC.
Sex boxing. The freak show fight.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, we
gone way left field.
What were we trying to Conor McGregor? What?
Khabib. When he comes back, he wants to fight Khabib in Russia.
In Russia.
In Russia.
That's an interesting decision.
It's definitely going to be a money-making decision for sure.
And that kind of speaks more to that point, I guess, what I was saying about the global aspect of the global brand. From his perspective, he's thinking there's all these uncharted territories, other countries, and that's like gold everywhere, from his perspective. Because yeah, you know, the whole country of Russia watching MMA and becoming Conor fans or whatever, Conor haters or whatever, that makes him a lot of money. But for UFC, it's also real good. I'm sure they're down with it too. You know, they've been trying to break the world globe market for years now. You know, they've been doing stuff, and I don't think they really clocked it. I don't think they really, because around the same time they were doing that, they got bought out, and then you know, Leo DiCaprio and Miley Cyrus now own UFC, and nobody knows what the hell it's doing. But while Dana and the Fertitta brothers were still in charge, they were going to Dubai, they were going to Australia, they were going to England a lot, and they still do that. But I don't think they're succeeding to the same extent as they were before.
No, you're right. They had a couple Mexico cards. They had some China cards.
Macau, yeah.
They were really trying to push that global market. So him coming back and fighting Khabib in Russia will definitely be good for that.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be a less interesting fight than Tony Ferguson versus
Khabib.
Conor.
That's a bold. Oh, Tony versus Conor.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because Conor, what can Tony do that Conor can't do?
One, he has the range. I believe Tony's a little longer, if not a little longer, the same.
Okay.
Which gives Conor issues. He's used to being the longer fighter.
That's actually very true.
Also, he has a very unorthodox, unique style of striking. It's something Conor probably hasn't experienced hands-on in person.
Yeah.
Whereas Conor is a little bit more accustomed to the shorter, stockier wrestler trying to close distance.
Yeah. Ferguson is really a freestyle fighter.
Absolutely. And then his jiu-jitsu also is pretty high level, and it's not super...
And it's aggressive too.
It's aggressive, it's unique.
He finishes a lot of people.
I think it's a more interesting style matchup. Khabib's striking is not very nuanced. It's not, overly developed.
He is not a striker. Let's go ahead and just call that out.
And let's be honest. I'm willing to bet Conor's hands, as good as Conor's hands are now, are going to be better when he comes back from Floyd, because he's been focused so much at boxing for a high-level boxing tournament.
Khabib would do one thing and one thing only in that fight: it's clinch, takedown.
And Conor's going to know that, and be prepping and trying to set things up.
And I go back to the Mendes fight. I think the toughest fight he had, apart from Diaz in recent memory, was the Mendes fight. And honestly, there's really two schools of thought. You ask people who are kind of amateurish in the MMA game, don't really do that much MMA themselves, and they say Mendes was almost won that fight, and if he'd had more time to train and all this stuff. And then you ask people who know MMA a little bit better, and they might say, well, Conor always kind of knew what was going on, but ultimately, he was softening up the body, he was doing the spin kicks, he was hurting him from the bottom. Everything he said he was going to do, he did, even to the round. He called the round. Yeah. But if you take that apart and you look at what Mendes was able to achieve against Conor McGregor, he did hit him a couple times with some good shots, and he did take him down. He did beat him up a bit on the floor. I think Khabib is probably a better version of Mendes.
True.
A little bit less power in his hands, but I don't think that is where I don't think you're gonna knock Conor McGregor out like that with those wild.
Yeah, I don't think you will. Because remember, that's the same thing with what's his nose, Eddie Alvarez. Big looping punches, and that's how he got caught. Conor specifically, it seems like, prefers dudes who try to close distance with big looping punches. Yeah.
There's this breed of olds. Now it's dying out, I think, because of the new breed of MMA fighter, the freestyle fighter, where they didn't train in one art. But there's this old breed of fighter that really plays into Conor McGregor's game, which is like the brawler cage fighter, I will call it. It's the dude who doesn't really know too much about kicking, clinching, but they know how they really want to knock you out, to get something for their highlight reel. And if they can't knock you out, then they'll take you down and beat you up, which was great. It's like T.O. Ortiz kind of started that style, and it developed a little bit, but it's kind of at the end of its tether. And that style of fighter is not good for the freestyle fighter who can see all those shots coming.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like a big step, a quantum leap ahead of that. In terms of Khabib, he's not really so much he is a very, very good wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that might cause problems for Conor McGregor, just because we really haven't seen him against a really good wrestler.
Yeah. If Khabib can close that distance and get hold of Conor, then that's where things get maybe less interesting. Put it like this. The
I don't think it'll be a fun fight.
Yeah. Difference between interesting and potentially dangerous.
Yeah.
Right? I think we know if it stays standing up, we know what's going to happen.
And if it goes to the ground,
we know what's going to happen. As opposed to Ferguson,
you don't know what the hell is going to happen either way.
Exactly.
It's a good fight, you're right. It's definitely a more exciting fight.
I agree. It's a more exciting fight. I would like to see that happen. Yes. That's the end of my train of thought there. I thought there was more, but there wasn't.
So what did Conor say?
Basically, he announced it. I'm sorry. I should be more specific. Not he announced it. Dana White announced that Conor has hit him up and said, when I come back from this Floyd thing, I want Khabib in Russia.
It's interesting that he's looking past Mayweather.
Yeah. That is interesting.
I mean, I guess they're different sports, so it's easy to flip-flop. It's easier to flip-flop. But it says a lot about where his head's at.
Yeah.
He's not getting too...
I don't think he's going to become a boxer.
No,
he's not looking
definitely
to
not becoming a boxer. This is the boxing fight.
Yes.
Especially because in that weight, like, boxing is interesting in some of the higher weight classes. I guess there's like Triple G and stuff is around McGregor's weight, but like boxing is interesting in some of the higher weight classes, but there's not that many fighters around McGregor's weight with the name that will earn him the purse. So I think he'd prefer to go back to MMA.
Yeah.
But just the fact that it's not, the fact that he's got another fight lined up after is interesting, because a lot of people said, oh, he's taking this fight as a paycheck and then he's done. He's bouncing. Right. Which would indicate that he's happy to lose. Yeah. He's okay to lose. Yeah. And I never believed that to be true. Just what we know of Conor McGregor, his personality, I don't think he takes paychecks to lose. I think his primary goal is to succeed and to win and to dominate. Mm-hmm. And his secondary goal is to make money. Interesting. I don't think he takes fights to lose them and make money.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't think that's like a thing. Like he's like, all right, I'm gonna lose this, but I'm gonna take it anyway. Yeah.
But a lot of people do for some.
Although you add like 70 something million to that number, and it change. Yeah, it could change the way.
That changes everything.
I will go get my ass kicked tonight
for 70 million, and you don't even get your ass kicked that hard against Mayweather. You're not gonna. No disrespect to the guy, but he's not going to put you in hospital. Right. Maybe for a night, but you're not going to get Parkinson's fighting Mayweather.
No, you're definitely not. Speaking of Mayweather McGregor, which is a freak show, super big freak show just happened. I think it was last night. Maybe the day before. Gabi, what's her name? Gabi Garcia versus
pure comedy.
I got to look up this chick's name, this little Japanese chick. So fucking sad, dude. And this is not the only one. Her last fight was the same kind of thing. Japan has been fucking up these little Japanese broads via Gabi Garcia.
Just lining them up, huh?
They go get these like retired 40-something-year-old, 50-something-year-old, used to compete in Shuto box, 5'4", 5'3" Japanese chicks, and then go put them in the ring or in the cage with
monster.
Who, let's be honest, Gabi is like the female Brock Lesnar. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
she's just fucking gigantic. She's Shane Carwin in a dress.
Yeah.
What's this chick's name? I'm looking it up. Okay, so it's Gabi Garcia versus Megumi Yabushita. I'm gonna add the the link to the video in the description below, the description box below the actual video that you're watching now. Just fucked her up. It was striking only. Just fucked her up standing. Not because she's super technical or anything like that, but because she's almost like 100 pounds of muscle.
And you know, the strange, ironic thing about it is the fact that she's not that good a striker. She's not a bad striker, but she's not that good a striker makes it worse. Because when you're at a high level, you could put someone away without destroying them. But when you're like a Brock Lesnar, who's not really that trained in martial arts, and going back to like people like Conor McGregor, if you actually look at how he disposes of people, he's so skillful that he literally just touches people and they're out.
Yeah.
He doesn't kill people, but when you look at, that's what struck me watching this fight. This girl is a jiu-jitsu fighter, and she was put in basically a striking fight against someone 100 pounds lighter than her, and she destroys this girl just because she's kind of clumsy. She's kind of clumsy. She doesn't know how to hit on the button. She doesn't know how to drop someone with one punch. She doesn't know how to hit, get someone right on the chin. She just smashes them, like you said, like Brock Lesnar, And it's even more if she was like a highly skilled, much bigger, someone who's had 20, 30 K1 fights. That's one thing. She might have been able to like dispose of this girl humanely. Right. She just fucking destroys this.
She's got to light a cigarette with a nuke.
Yeah, that's what she's doing. Exactly.
That's basically what she's doing. And the cold part about it is, after she hits her and drops the chick, she then illegally soccer kicks her in the head. Yeah. And this is like a grandma.
Times. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. She's potentially a grandma.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then why is that girl fighting her? Why is the other Nagumi fighting?
Here's my guess. One, historically, Japan has loved freak shows.
They love freak shows.
Two, I don't think she's a current fighter with a name. And you know who Garcia is? Who Gabi is? Gabi is the Bob Sapp of modern women's combat sports in Japan.
Yeah, they loved Bob Sapp too.
Just some gigantic, enormous motherfucker. Not especially technical, not especially, elite, but just a mammoth. Yeah. Just a mammoth. Yeah. And that's who she is. So here you have...
Bob Sapp got his ass lit up a few times. Yeah. People knocked the shit out of Bob Sapp a few times. He wasn't guaranteed to win all this fight.
No, he wasn't. But then we were also dealing with the men's combat sports, which has a much deeper pool to pull from. It means a higher...
In Japan, for sure,
higher level of competitor. Whereas women's MMA, as good as it's becoming, it's not a super deep pool. Yeah. So you have this lady who's gigantic but not especially skilled. Yeah. They probably want to kind of boost her because she has freak show appeal. Yeah. So they go get some, retired fighter who wouldn't mind a big paycheck to come in and get knocked the fuck out, by this giant person. But now here's my question to you regarding Gabi Garcia. Gabi Garcia is big for a man. Yeah. Okay? Do you think she's that big because she takes a lot of steroids, or do you think she's that big because she takes a shit ton of steroids?
I don't know, maybe she has some genetic anomaly or something, but I would probably say a shit ton of steroids.
I think I'm on the same
matter. And there's a reason why she's fighting in Japan, right? I think they forced the steroids on you, even if you can't say no.
In Pride, it used to be a part of the contract. Yeah. Like, they would literally say, what's his name? Inoue. I can't think of his first name right now. But when he fought in Pride in Japan, they would point out to him that it says, look, here in the contract, it says we won't test you for steroids. And they would definitely imply, hey, we want you to take steroids. Yeah. They might not say for sure, like, you have to do this. Yeah. But they would certainly imply it. Yeah. Like, and again, Bob Sapp. Yeah.
He loved his steroids, I bet. I'm sure he had like an advertisement for one of them. He used to do a lot of commercials.
He had to have. Yeah. He had to have. Yeah, dude. Anything else you want to touch on? Oh!
Yeah, there's going to be more.
Interesting thing. So, it looks like Bisping is still trying to work out GSP versus him. Right? Here's what wouldn't surprise me. Okay? I would not be surprised if they managed to set that up. And if GSP beats Bisping, which is not likely in my opinion, I don't see GSP beating Bisping.
Okay.
But let's say he does. I would be willing to bet they then take GSP, have him fight welterweight for whoever's champ there, and we got Maia versus Woodley coming up.
Oh yeah.
If hoping that GSP wins that, let him hold 2 belts, and then have champ Conor versus champ GSP for the ultimate fucking super fight. Mark my words, I've said this.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Don't be surprised.
The freak show of all super freak shows.
Hey man, look, if it keeps going the way it's going, we're going to be having Gabi Garcia versus Yasha Moody or whatever her name was in the UFC.
Conor McGregor versus Gabi Garcia, I think, is
That's the next one. That's the next one. All right, dude. Well, that's all I've got. Do you have anything you want to touch on before we get out of here?
I think we crushed it.
As always, you guys, thank you for listening. Please go hit that subscribe button if you'd like to stay up to date with more MMA, personal development, and current event content. Peace the fuck out.
Peace.